Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 292 of the Canadian Football Countdown, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network, and of course the Alternative Football Network. Today we're going to preview Week 5, look at some fantasy, some betting. Maybe Adam and I will do some hot takes because that was a kind of a poor turnout this week on the social media. Talk about some things, but before we get into that, I am joined with my Rough Rider brethren here. Adam Stewart, how are you doing today, buddy?
Yeah, doing good yourself, Trey. But at least, hey, today I can see.
That's always a good upside.
Always positive. Got to be in the positive.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, before we get into today's show, we are sponsored by the Canadian Football Countdown. Is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Game Time TV. Learn more by visiting GameTimeTV.ca or on the old Facebook at facebook.com/GameTimeTVMB. And as always, we want to acknowledge that the Canadian Football Countdown is brought to you from Treaty 1 territory, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, and Dene people, and the homeland of the Métis Nation, as well from Treaty 4 territory, the traditional territory of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, and Métis Nation. And most of you already know, but if you're new to the show, check out our Discord. That's the Canadian Football Community Discord. We're talking everything on there. There's some hockey talk right now. Our buddy FM Fans talking about the Jays, which I believe they are now the leading team in the AL East. If they beat the Yankees, they're tied with the Yankees right now. In the AL East, so big turnaround there. We're talking, like I said, hockey, CFL, NFL, UFL, UFC, basketball talk the other day. I think there was some farming. You always got farming stuff in there. I think people were talking about basketball contracts because the Canadian got paid. So anyway,
there's a few of them that got paid.
Yeah. But a couple basketball players got paid. And we're always talking about that in the Discord, so make sure to join that. Also, we talk about a lot about our fantasy. We have the head-to-head fantasy league going on, which we'll talk about standings in that. You have your podcast league that you're running this year. We also have our private league that we talk about, which we'll talk about a trade in a little bit. I'm sure maybe we'll start the show with that.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll start the show with that. Happen. Yeah, since we'll start with that, maybe since we had no hot takes really this week, because normally we pose the question hot takes. And we have to go over the definition of what hot take is, because a hot take isn't a question. It's a
statement.
A statement, a very deep opinion, I would say, not a question.
Very, very strong, deep opinion. Yeah. So I'll give you one right now because, sometimes we don't get these done up right. I'll give you one of mine. AJ Ouellette is the runaway favorite right now for MOP in the league. There'll be some guys that'll argue me on that. And I mean, I'm sure that Winnipeg fans, see, that's the thing. It's got to be an opinion. It's got to be a strong opinion. And it's got to be something that really goes and entices and excites the opposite players on other teams or on other things. So, yeah, I'm going to say it right now. My pick is Nathan, again, AJ Ouellette. I say is the MOP, and I don't think it's really close right now.
Wow.
And why is that not the way, Trey?
I don't even think AJ Ouellette's the top running back right now. Maybe only because of injuries, but you're telling me, okay, fair. Maybe if you're looking at objectively, but I still think there's guys I don't know. Is this stat? Maybe I got to get his stats in front of me. Maybe his stats have crept up and I haven't noticed.
I think he's had 3 100-yard games, touchdown in every game. I mean, he's overall already what Brady Oliveira usually does at the first half of the season, and he's only played he didn't play in the first game essentially, missed the second game quite a bit. I mean, this guy here is on fire right now, and I don't see anybody even close. The only guy maybe is Zach Collaros had a good performance last week. Otherwise, who else is there that's an MOP nominee right now?
That's fair. No, he is almost 100 yards, best higher than the next running back, or at least 80 over James Butler. Matthew Peterson's up there too, and I see what you're saying. No, yeah, I think 4 games is such a small sample size, and you're going to have the stats are going to be skewed because after next week, the Blue Bombers are going to have 2 byes in 6 weeks. So their stats are going to look messed up compared to other teams, right? And not to even mention the suspension of Caleros, not to mention Oliveira's injuries. So I think it's always tough comparing that right now. But yeah, I guess so, because I wouldn't, okay, if you're looking at league leaders, you're not giving Nick Arbuckle right now, even though he's leading in passing. Bo Levi, probably not. I would lean Zach, but maybe I want to see a couple more games.
I mean, Trevor Harris has had a good season so far, but not all-star.
Maybe
all-star, but not MOP.
Maybe I could see your point. I'll concede that. I don't love it, but maybe that's just, again, I almost didn't love it last year when a lot of people were talking about Oliveira most of the year, and I was like, he ran good, but I feel like MOP lately is the league is, I don't want to say mid because there's a lot of talent, but there's injuries and there's a lot of bad games and there's a lot of this, there's a lot of that. And I thought, was it like between Oliveira and Bo, and neither guy to me thought stole it? Like MOP should be stolen, right? Like you want the guy to go up there and say, no, that's my trophy, where it seemed like most guys play hot potato with it in this league, where you might have a couple of guys have good weeks and then they go, now you have it. Now you have it. And not intentionally, of course, but that's kind of where I see more. So no, I could see what you are saying. Maya, what do I have a hot take here? I don't know. I haven't really been thinking about it. I knew you had a couple juicy ones. So anything else you got, or that was it?
That was a big one that I had. Again, I've heard lots out of Saskatchewan guys saying that actually, another one really that I heard while at the football game here last Saturday, and I know, I'm sorry, I don't like doing a whole pile of Rough Rider ones, but one that really kind of was interesting that I heard kind of during the game was Mario Alford deserves to go to the Hall of Fame. Are we at that point where he's made enough returns and enough touchdowns and enough yards and everything that he's Hall of Fame worthy already? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I need to see the stats, but who has more, him or Grant?
I would think Alfred. He's been here longer.
Well, maybe. Because I was going to say, I don't know. I have a tough time putting... The CFL Hall of Fame to me is wild because there's a lot of guys who come in for 3 or 4 years, fantastic. Then they either go to the NFL, they either ride off into the sunset, they get cut randomly because of signing bonus, this or that. You know what I mean? So it's a very tough league for me to put in. And you don't want a Hall of really good. You want a Hall of Fame, right? And to me, you need someone who's breaking records, I think, especially in that position, because you have one position, right? You have one job. It's catch the ball and gain up the yards and gain the touchdowns. That's what I'm saying. It's hard for me to put him Hall of Fame because you can make the argument Grant's been better. You can make the argument other guys currently are better or equal. And that makes me think it's Hall of really good, not Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that if you look, if you go with Mario Alford in the Hall of Fame, why not Jason Armstead in the Hall of Fame from back in the day? Why not? I'm just thinking of a few good Winnipeg Blue Bomber returners over the years that probably should be in the Hall of Fame, maybe. Zellers, for example. I don't know if he is or not. I don't think he is. He was a great returner from when I remember way back in the day. Or maybe you got to put Miller in the Hall of Fame for Winnipeg because he made so many special teams tackles. It's so hard when you're only a one-man job, right? I don't know. I can see the argument, but...
Yeah, I actually got one then, and I'm sorry we're sticking with the Rough Riders and Blue Bombers, but I'll go to the Blue Bombers here. And this was something that really hit me the other day, and it's going to take me... It's really hard for me to say. Really hard for me to say, because if you watch the show, I haven't exactly loved this guy. Oh, man, it's going to be tough for me to say this. Zach Caleros. Oh, shit. It's the shit. This is so hard. My hot take. Oh, shit. My wife can hear me. Zach Caleros is the best Bomber quarterback in franchise history.
Oh, that's spicy.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I'm going to say it. I'm gonna say it, and it killed me, and that's saying a lot. But
I mean, Dunnigan and
I know,
Kevin Glenn.
I hate to say it, but and maybe it's a matter of, like the argument. The younger generation says LeBron's better than MJ. Tyson's better than Muhammad Ali. The newer generation always thinks the newer generation's better. So I will fully admit that could be that, because I never watched Dunnigan play other than highlights. You know what I mean? My childhood was Kevin Glenn, Kari Jones, good quarterbacks, but, didn't take us to 5 straight Grey Cups, by any means. So, and the one that Glenn could have won, whoops. So, yeah. So, I mean, but that's my spicy take for the week, that unless something really catastrophic happens in the next year and a half, because I'm assuming next year has to be his last year.
I would think so. But when you think about all the quarterbacks in Winnipeg history, boy, there isn't very many, though, that had made 5 Grey Cups and won, 2 of them, I think?
That's what I mean. Like, I would say Dunnigan and Plain. And
I mean, Brock, maybe.
Yeah. But, I mean, he's definitely in the conversation. He's in the conversation.
Yeah. Oh,
no. You mentioned
like, he's earned his spot on the Wall of Fame or on the Wall of Honor or Ring of Honor for Winnipeg. But no,
100%. Like, to me, they put Andrew Harrison at the next season after he left or after he retired. To me, Collaros would be that same category. The season, the second he retires, that next season, you're putting him in the Ring of Honor, I think, first game.
I also think Winnipeg needs to put the goalpost that stopped Cody Fajardo in the Ring of Honor as well. But
that's fair.
But no, honestly, Zach Collaros does deserve a spot in the Wall of Fame for Winnipeg. He probably has a Hall of Fame career. I mean, look at the record. It shows the best, though, ever in Winnipeg. That's spicy. I could see it. So, yeah.
And it's worse.
Out of those 3 takes, then I guess we got Mario Alford being in the Hall of Fame, Zach Collaros being the best Bomber quarterback, and AJ Ouellette's the MOP, not even close. Which of the ones is the hottest take this week?
I think mine, just because of who I am and how much I hated Collaros.
Honestly, I agree.
It would, if Mike said it, it wouldn't be hot at all. But because just I'm saying it.
You're not like, yeah. I'm like, whatever, no horse in the race, we get it. But you know what? Honestly, though, it's a good one. I mean, it's definitely a hot take, that's for sure. So, hey, if you got any more hot takes, those are what hot takes are, is something that is really spicy, something that can be argued to the death, but it could be right. So if you got one of those, send it out next week, either on the Discord channel or on our Twitter or X or the Blue Sky pages. And we'll read it off here next week. Yes, I think that's about it then for this. Do you want to move on to our we were talking about AJ Ouellette. Do you want to move on to a certain fantasy thing?
Oh, yeah, sure. We'll do that first. We'll talk about our private fantasy league that we do every year, draft style. Accumulative points wins throughout the year. And let me just pull it up, because for the first time, I believe, in the history of me joining the podcast, I have the lead, which is pretty good to say. Let me get the points here, because it's close still between me and Ryan, isn't it? Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, no, it's real close, but I think you're in the lead right now. And the other thing,
I have a 5-point lead over Ryan, and Ryan's got about a 30-point lead over Mike, who has about a 65-point lead over you. So you're not out of it with 15 weeks left. And
lots of time. And you know what? I was always going to tell you should put that up on the screen share there, just because you can take a picture of it. That way there you can prove that one time you were in the lead. Because let's hope that doesn't stick around very long.
We don't need to put a screen share on our private Discord chat right now.
No, not really.
All right.
Anyway.
So just take our word for it.
No, but big moves in the league though this week. You want to talk about the trades?
Yeah, for sure. So coming off a big week last week, Team Trey felt like a couple new pieces needed to be added. And like we said, Team Adam, bottom of the barrel right now, but looking for a big comeback. So first off, our first little one, we'll start off with the little one. A couple Canadian receivers traded ways. I sent Katoy for the BC Lions your way, and you sent me Jalen Philpott. Any quick thoughts on that one before we get to the juicier one?
I think pretty even trade, to be honest with you. I think Katoy has been seeing more targets so far this season. Jalen Philpott, I don't want to say a disappointment so far, but I thought he would get more yardage than what he has with Vernon Adams there. I think he'll be fine, but I just wanted to spice things up more than anything and trade up. Again, national for national. I think both are a good receiver. Just thought maybe it's time to move some pieces, some places. And then all of a sudden we decided we're going to drop the bomb when I decided, you know what? I'm going to just see what I can get for a certain running back that's coming back this week. And I put on them trade bait or on our trade board that Brady Oliveira is available if you got the right pieces.
Yeah, for sure.
We had a trade.
Pardon?
And then all of a sudden he's traded.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you sent me national Brady Oliveira, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and Toronto Argonaut quarterback Chad Kelly, who should be back and after the bye, it sounds like, for them. And I sent to you AJ Ouellette, running back to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, for national quarterback Nathan Rourke of the BC Lions. So again, we think it was a fairly fair trade. There was some disagreement on who won the trade between Ryan and Mike. And you say you have a buddy that says you won the trade. I have a buddy that says I won the trade. So this is a very, very split down the middle. So anyone watching right now, if you feel free, because I'm really confused who won this trade.
Yeah, we'll go and we'll enter it into the comments right away. And then you guys debate it here while we're talking some CFL preview. But honestly, I think it's probably the most it's painful for me to get rid of Brady Oliveira or trade him out. But I really, really wanted Nathan Rourke. I think that he's still going to be a great quarterback. And by the way, right now I have the MOP AJ Ouellette. So that's why I made the trade. Chad Kelly, he's been hurt. I don't know. I'm tired of Chad Kelly sitting on my bench. So I thought, you know what? Let's trade it up. Let's mix it up. See what happens. By all means, take a look in the trade on who won this one. And be sure to make some comments in a little bit so that you can make me feel better that I traded Brady Oliveira.
Yeah, that was the big trade of the day. I feel like I had something else I was good at. Now I don't remember.
There's a couple quick little ads. I think Ryan, I believe, dropped Reggie Bagleton and added who did he add? Over from Toronto. What was his name? Kevin Mytel was added by Team Ryan. And I didn't notice if Team Mike did anything else.
He added Kevin Brown through the waiver wire, dropped Stanley Berryhill. He also picked up Toronto's defense, dropping Ottawa, where I also added Jake Mayer while dropping Aiden Eberhardt. That's what I did in the waiver.
Perfect. Well, hey, you know what? And I guess I also did one as well. I got to get that pronunciation right because I suck with his name. Let me take a look here. Private. I'm going to get to our fantasy league so I can make sure I got this pronounced right, even though I'm going to screw it up anyways. Where is it here? Here it is. I dropped Jared Stearns from the Bombers. I added another Bomber. Kevin's Clerkius.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyways, National added another National. I don't know. I think it was a good move, but it was more I was disappointed with Stearns.
Yeah, that Bomber Blue receiving core is kind of a tough one, right? Unless you have Wheatfield or Schoen or even Dembski, you don't know who's getting. Like those three guys have been getting the ball pretty consistently, and it's the other guys that I'm even surprised about. Clercius, he's picked up some points here and there, but I wonder if how his production will be going forward too. So Yeah, that Bomber receiving core is very tough to pick out of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, that's our big
rumble.
Yeah, they're big fantasy things. We'll talk about our other fantasy leagues near the end, but let's get into our weekly preview. Kick it off with Thursday night football, 8 p.m. Central Start Time, I guess 9 p.m. Eastern. Ryan usually does Eastern times. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers going to Calgary. Was it the Stampede Bowl? I think they called it here. Thursday night football, the home underdog, plus 3.5, over under 50.5. Pretty close game, though. 3.5. That's not what I thought this line would be if you asked me 2 months ago. But Vernon Adams and the Stampeders are, playing pretty well so far. Is this for – wow, this is essentially second in the West right now, like pretty much, with Saskatchewan having the extra game in hand right now, sitting on the bye. So what are you looking for in this game?
Well, I think the biggest thing we got to look at is Brady Oliveira, and that's probably why the negative 3.5 now. And I predict this might widen even a little bit more because Brady Oliveira is now healthy. And, well, okay, he's on the starting lineup. Let's put it that way. Let's hope he's healthy and Trey's sake for the trade he just made. But looks to be ready to go. A little bit of a shoulder, still kind of had him a little bit more limited in practice. I don't know. It sounds like he's ready to rumble. If he is, boy, that's a big piece for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. For me, on the Calgary side, I'm just looking for them to see who they can find to finally get over the hump of losing Reggie Begelton probably for the season. So if it's Jalen Philpo, they're putting him in a very funny spot to get him going. They've got other pieces on that Calgary team, but boy, Philpo is the guy I look at to try to get going, if anybody. And they had a week to kind of get ready for this. Hopefully they can figure it out soon, because that's going to be pretty much what decides the Calgary season here. Their defense, honestly, has been pretty good so far this season. A lot better than we probably predicted. Vernon Adams has been good, but that receiving core, man, we'll see what happens with it. Trey?
Yeah, I mean, that receiving core has been interesting. Jalen Philpott's kind of not hit where we thought he was. Even I'm surprised Ryan dropped Begelton, because he's been high on Begelton. You think, Begelton's going to be the key to success for Calgary. It seems like, I'm not trying to put words in Ryan's mouth, but that's the way I've taken it. But
that injury's pretty much to the point.
Fair enough. Oh, right, he got injured. Right, I forgot.
That injured. He's
that makes sense.
Season done injured.
That makes sense. I forgot we don't have an IR this year, so that makes sense. But still, that's a big loss there. But yeah, Vernon Adams playing well. No touchdowns, but still doing pretty decently in the passing game, averaging, I thought I had it here. He's completing 62%, over 800 yards over 3 games. So that's quick math. 250, 270 something a game. Not too bad. And the run game has been pleasantly okay. Dedrick Mills has had, plus sides here. Very interesting. Totally forget who it is, but somebody in the Discord was talking about their secondary and their defense. Wasn't it a couple weeks ago? We talked about it as a hot take. Very interesting there, how that can come into form. And then on the other side, Winnipeg. Yeah, Oliveira's back. How healthy is he going to be? Are they going to split time with him and Peterson? It's going to be all Oliveira. Is it the old switcheroo? Just start Oliveira on the depth chart, but run Peterson. I don't know. Could be anything. You never know with O'Shea and this team. But also, you know what? And I'm also interested, was last week, was that just a one-off against Edmonton where Zach went off, or is that Zach back? And that's, kind of where I want to see.
All I know is, as a Rider fan, I had PTSD when I was watching Zach Collaros running the ball for a touchdown. That's all I can say.
Man.
Last time I seen him running like that, he ended up getting his head taken off.
Wow. I mean, he almost did when he threw the football up in the air. It came back and smacked him. It landed right on him.
Fair enough.
He's got surprisingly quick feet for a quarterback that's not exactly mobile, or you don't think is. He's got some quick, his top speed isn't what it quite once was, but his feet's there, and he can hit that hole pretty quick. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when he gets going, he's great. My thought is, though, I do not want to see Zach Collaros run a football. If I want to see a quarterback run a football, I've got a blonde-haired guy that can go in and substitute for him.
Well, but that's the thing though, because I think that those plays are going to open up because when the defense sees Zach Collaros out there, they don't need to have the quarterback spy. They're like, well, what's he going to do? And then he goes and does that. So I wonder if Calgary is going to learn from that mistake, or is Calgary not going to leave it open for him? And kind of the same thing. So
I think it's a one-off, to be honest with you. I really don't see that being a trend with Zach Collaros. If it is, again, I fear for his safety.
I get it. He's picking it up though. He had a big rush at the end of last year. It was they were like 2nd and 20, and he almost had it. So he's starting to pick it up in his old age.
Yeah. And then speaking of Calgary a little bit more, I just wanted to put another one. I've been saying Jalen Philpo, but honestly, they got Dominic Rhymes on that team. I mean, they got to get some pieces going here in the throwing game. If it's Dominic Rhymes, if it's Clark Barnes, again, Jalen Philpo, as I said before, one of those three have to get open. Winnipeg made a little bit of a move in the linebacking core this week. They did release somebody that I can't remember the name now when I'm thinking of it. Was it Hallett?
Who?
Hallett, was it? Or Hallett?
Which team released?
Winnipeg.
Haggerty?
Hey, oh yeah. Hey, Josh Haggerty. So, I don't know. Maybe there's an opportunity there. Plus, don't forget, they have a certain linebacker. I don't think he's starting this week, is he, in Calgary?
No, don't think so. I think they announced that he was partially injured.
Who would have thought?
I mean, when Calgary comes to Winnipeg, I think that would be a good game for him to start too. So,
yeah, true. And then also they have their new linebacker, the other new linebacker. They got 2 new linebackers this week, which is kind of amazing out of one for one team to do. But Kyle Wilson is also going to be starting this week for the Stampeders in linebacker. So that'll be interesting to watch. He just came from Hamilton. Had a week kind of, I guess, a 1 week kind of crash course while they were on bye week. And yeah, he's starting for the Stampeders. So be very interesting to see what happens in that linebacking core for the Stamps. So, yeah. Fantasy?
Yeah, you can kick it off, man.
Sure. I got only really one player. Well, 2 players out of this game. I had to go Brady Oliveira. He's going to come back, and he's going to come back with a vengeance, let's hope. Except for, in our own private fantasy league, I hope he doesn't come back with vengeance. Otherwise, I feel real bad. But the likelihood of him having a big game is pretty high. I don't like Calgary's defensive line. I still don't like it. I don't know. It's been okay so far, but Brady Oliveira is a whole different beast to be playing against. So I got Brady Oliveira on my team. He is probably, I think, the most expensive running back you can get, $14,000. But I think he's worth it. I'm going to take him. And on the other side of the football, I'm going to take Dietrich Mills as well. The reason being is, really, I can see Calgary trying to run the football a little bit, trying to establish the game early, and try to take any momentum out of Winnipeg Sails early and get this game going. I don't know. I like Dietrich Mills as well in this one. So those are my 2 picks, is Oliveira and Mills. Who do you got, Trey?
You know what? I actually went really heavy in this game, and I always hate going too heavy in one game, but there's a lot of potential, I think, in this one. I agree with you on both running backs. I got Oliveira and Dietrich Mills. But I also got a pair of receivers on each side. I got Wheatfall on one side and Jalen Philpott on the other. I'm going to go with Wheatfall just because he's still been racking up and relatively cheap, 7.9. He could probably be a $13,000 player, how he's been playing sometimes here. But 7.9, I'll take him. Jalen Philpott, I'm going to go with the 7.4. I believe he plays on the side Ryan always says to not take. I haven't looked into those stats very often, but I'm going with it that Winnipeg has a bend, don't break defense, and they're going to pick up a lot of yards against this Blue Bomber defense probably. So that's where I'm going with that. And my captain, I got to go with Zach Collaros. I got to ride with the hot hand here and see him keep it going.
There's going to be so many going with Zach Collaros and then so many disappointed when he kind of gets like one quarter, ends up injured and doesn't play another series. I'm just saying, it always happens.
At least if everyone goes with them, then the average score this week won't be that high. So
By the way, congratulations on your average score win last week. That being said, let's move over to betting. You want to bring this up early, or what are we thinking here? Because I know you wanted to mention how good a certain suspended player did last week.
Oh, yeah, we'll do our stats here from last week. I forgot to pull them up on the site, but I got them handy here. Last week, who we go here? So, yeah, last week against the spread, I went 3-1. The only game I had wrong was the Sunday night game. I had Ottawa, not Toronto. You went 2-2. You having Edmonton wrong and Ottawa wrong. And Ryan went 1-3 against the spread. He had everything wrong, but he took – who did he take? Oh, I was wrong. He went 0-4 against the spread. I got to change that because he went Edmonton, Montreal, BC, Ottawa. Those were all wrong. Uh-oh. Okay, anyway, I got to fix that. He went 0-4 against the spread, so that changes some things there. Got to change my math here.
Well, while you're changing that, just remember that Ryan may be 0-4 in the spread, but he's still got all his fantasy stuff still going on. Even though he's suspended, he did go and post in our Discord page the fantasy results from last week and what each player got. 4 points. So, hey, check it out. Maybe you got some ideas, or maybe might have some insight for you on fantasy players as well. So just thought I'd bring that up there while I can.
Yeah, for sure.
And throw a cheap plug for our Discord channel.
Yeah, for sure. And again, over under, Ryan went 1-3. The only one he had right was the last game of the week. You went 2-2 on that one, and I went 3-1 on that one as well. So putting our season totals against the spread, I'm now leading the way at 11-5, so making money. You're making money too at 10-6 against the spread. Ryan, I would say, is breaking even around 8-8 against the spread. The coin, forgot the coin. He went 2-2 straight, or it went 2-2 against straight pick'ems. 11-5 this year on straight pick'ems. The over under, you and I are at 7-9. Well, Ryan's at 6-10. We're all ass at over under. So hopefully we'll get better as the season goes. And this week we got the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the road favorites at -3.5. The over under at 50.5. Ryan, not here today. We did allow him to at least send in his picks. He took Winnipeg -3.5 and the over 50.5. Well, I'm going to say, Ryan, you're going to get this one right because I agree, -3.5 on Winnipeg. And I'm going to take the over because I think, just like the reason why I took a lot of players in fantasy, I think there's going to be some fireworks here in the Stampede Bowl to kick off the Calgary Stampede week. Adam, what do you like?
I really like what you guys are all throwing out there. Calgary made a beautiful little trophy. I don't know if we have a picture of anything of it for the Stampede Bowl, but yeah, there's a little trophy and everything else, so it's kind of cool. But no, I agree. I think the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are winning this game here. I think that they probably will prevail outright. I don't think we have to worry about 3.5. And yeah, I'm going to go with the over as well. Why not? I can see this being a good old shootout in the old K McMahon, I guess, as you would say. I am going to flip the coin. And we've got, well, heads is the away, the queen is the away team, so it's going with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as well, outright. So, cool. Guess the coin knows, man. So far this season.
Yeah, for sure. Now we'll move on to the Friday night game, Battle of Ontario here. You got the Tiger Cats at coming off their first win, right, last week. Big upset against Montreal at 1-2, taking on the Argos at 1-3. This game, 6:30 or 7:30 Eastern kickoff. I'll kick off with this one. I'm very interested in this because it sounds like Kelly's still going to be out for at least this week and probably won't return till after they have the bye next week. So they're still trying to get their act together there and see if Arbuckle can try to keep their head over water. And I also want to see, was that just the division fluke last week with Hamilton winning 35-17 against Montreal? Is that just, MBT being the backup and, a lot of factors that just point. And I believe I said last week that game smelt of a oh, why are the words escaping me right now? Trap game. There we go. See, it's not NFL season, so these terms are out of my mind. So I said it felt like a trap game and stuff, and yeah, lo and behold, it was. So that's where I want to see is Bo in this pretty electric Hamilton offense starting to fire, and can their defense put them in a spot to win this game? What's your thoughts on this one?
I think that they should be fine as long as they don't let Derek Slyqua go and get 2 returns for touchdowns. I think they should be okay. I mean, that was 14 points alone, let alone for rest for Ottawa. Otherwise, really, there wasn't a whole lot going on for the Toronto Argonauts. Just so you know, they did bring in another piece this week, Toronto. Keelan Laybourne is the old Ottawa running back. He's coming to Toronto to help with their backfield. They are pretty banged up, I guess. And you're right, Chad Kelly is out this week. He did do some limited practicing, though, it did say. So he is practicing. He's starting to get going. Give him a bye week, and I think, yeah, you probably will see Chad Kelly because, honestly, yeah, it's been really rough for Nick Arbuckle and most of the Toronto Argonauts so far this season. Hamilton, you know, I expected this team to take off like a house on fire. And so far, they've been disappointing me every game a little bit. Last weekend, finally, in the second half, they went and they took it to a Montreal Alouettes team that really kind of was dogging it as well. I'm glad they finally did. Sounds like Kenny Lawler had a good game. I think that they need to get Tim White going more. They need to get Drew Wolitarsky going more. They got to get Keandre Smith going more. They got to get Shamad Chambers going more. They got to get a lot of pieces going in Hamilton. And one that I still haven't seen going a lot is Greg Bell. I know that he's been injured and they have had a little bit of issues in there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I think Bell has been practicing. I didn't look at the injury report for him. But I know he was hurt last week. So we'll see what happens there and go from there. But this should be Hamilton's game. This should be a very easy game for Hamilton to win this with the receivers, the quarterback, with Bo Levi, with their offensive line that's been really good. There's no reason for Hamilton to lose this game, even though it's in Toronto and hostile territory. There's no reason for them to lose. That being said, you just get that feeling about Hamilton that there's something wrong with, like, something's up. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Yeah, but you could say the same thing for Toronto. They're not firing well either. Like, they got their first win last week against Ottawa. And Ottawa,
I get it, but Toronto doesn't have their starter quarterback.
No, fair.
I mean, Hamilton's
I think
got other pieces, except for Greg Bell.
I think they're just trying to get their timing and everything together, and I think it'll be a process a little bit. And I think last week's kind of how they played on Friday was exactly what I thought was kind of expecting from them this week. So I'm interested to see what they can do against Toronto, a team that's kind of struggling too. And then the week after they got Ottawa again. So that could be 2 big games against they got back-to-back against Ottawa. So that's 3 big games in a row here in the East that if Hamilton could be 4-2 by the end of it, right? If they could string some games together and be competing with Montreal for first in the East. So I think this is kind of the big first step there.
Yeah, they usually say that everything starts up in September, but honestly, this game here feels like it should be a playoff game because it might decide a whole lot of stuff going forward. I'm just trying to take a look really quick in Hamilton's side of the thing. Greg Bell is available. He's been fully practicing, a little bit of a calf injury, I guess. Daniel Bell, I can't believe they have 2 Bells. That's kind of hilarious. But their fullback, Daniel Bell, is injured and will be out. Drew Wolitarsky is questionable. Same thing with Reggie Stubblefield. That'll be interesting if both of them play. But honestly, Hamilton has got no injuries. They got no reason. Like I said, this game here should be Hamilton, no question in my mind. Anybody in fantasy that you're looking at there, Trey?
Honestly, there's only one in this game, and there's a couple factors. One is because of the price. But 2, I'm not sold on Toronto's offense, so give me Hamilton's defense, even though this might be crazy. But 4.3 thousand, man, Man, my roster is stacked with big spending. This is the only defense I could fit in here right now. But you know what? They are coming off a 21-point day against Montreal last week. And I think Toronto's offense is worse than Montreal's. So, not crazy.
No, you're absolutely crazy. So crazy that I'm actually doing the exact same thing. I took Hamilton's defense because it's by far the cheapest defense of the week. And as I've said before, and I know Ryan has said it before as well, take the cheap defense. Always take the cheap defense because usually you don't make no points with defenses. Montreal maybe will. If it's Jeremiah Mazzoli, that might make you some money. But otherwise, yeah, take the cheap defense. I like Hamilton's defense. It allows me to go and put in Kenny Lawler. So I just might do it because I think that he's going to have a pretty good game as well. So, yeah, I like the picks.
Yeah, now we
especially Hamilton. That's, you know what? We can all laugh about it, but we'll be the ones laughing when we win the whole thing, right?
No, 100%. Yeah, when they get negative 5 points somehow. But at least I got Claros as my captain to circumvent that. But yeah, let's get into the betting here. Hamilton -1 back-to-back road favorites here. Slightly, I feel like this flipped early in the week. Toronto was favored. I wonder if the more and more it came unlikely Kelly wasn't starting, I wonder if more money came in on Hamilton. I believe they were +1.5 underdogs early in the week. Now they're the favorite. Over under 52.5. That's kind of the biggest one of the week, I believe. Ryan took Hamilton at -1, and he also took the over. Oh, I'm going to agree with him with Hamilton. I'm going to go with that, but I'm actually going to go with the under. I think this will be a lower scoring game. What do you think?
I mean, this could be a trap game, but I don't see it. Not with Nick Arbuckle and the Argonauts offense being well offensive. No, I'm going to go with the Ticats. I'm going to go with the 52.5 is a very tough one because that's 26 points apiece. And that's quite a few points on average. I'm going to go with the under on this one as well. I think it's a few too many points for my liking, especially if Toronto can't get going. So, yeah, Hamilton in the under for me. I will go and flip this coin. Whoop, that was a terrible flip. Try this again. There we go. And it is going with the road team as well. It's going with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. It likes the Road Warriors lately, I find.
So who's it going with?
It's going with the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Hamilton, perfect. So we all agree there?
Yeah. The only thing we don't agree is with Richard here in the chat. I would definitely not recommend doing a hunger strike or any of this. Standing in solidarity with Ryan. I tried to file his appeal for him, and it got denied by Judge Trey. I'm sorry, but we're hoping that maybe Ryan might be reinstated next week. I guess we're going to have to find out if he's learned his lesson before. He may have to have a sit down with the league commissioners before he can come back.
Yeah, might have to. But I mean, you do the crime, you got to pay the time, man.
Yeah, fair.
So, yeah. And, you know, in all seriousness, he's got a good reason. We'll just leave it at that. And we hope that he's having a good night at home. But anyway, game 3 here, Saturday night football. BC. This line's interesting because maybe it's because Montreal's coming off this big loss and BC. I don't know. Maybe it's Rourke potentially coming back and being this and that and the question marks are still around Montreal's quarterback here. So BC, the +3.5 road dog. The first time the road team is the underdog this week. Over under 49.5. Man, what do you think about the battle of the quarterbacks here? You got Nathan Rourke, probably maybe not 100%. And you got on the other side, is it going to be MBT again? Is it Alex Davis or whatever? Davis Alexander? What's going on?
Well, sounds like Davis Alexander is still suffering from a little bit of a hamstring injury. I would be very questionable if he's going to play this week. So he's going to play sometime. You never know. I mean, Montreal's coming off a pretty ugly loss there. McCall Bethel Thompson did not look the greatest. for the Alouettes, coming in as a starter last week. But that being said, they didn't have also half of their receivers, and they're still missing receivers as well. I think Austin Mack is missing this week, if I'm not mistaken, or looks to be missing. We don't have the final charts. But Austin Mack, I think Tyler Snead, I think there's a few other little Nixon knacks there in Montreal side of the football. I think Montreal's still got enough pieces to win this game. I really watched a BC team that kind of imploded on itself last week. And boy, do they have injuries over in BC. Hopefully they can get over them. If it's on the BC side of the football, I sure hope Nathan Rourke comes back and is like a full Hall of Famer like he used to be. We're going to find out pretty soon, because he is a guy that definitely kind of is the one that stirs the drink, I think, in BC. Jeremiah Mazzoli did not. I'll give him credit. They looked really good in hurry-up offense last week. Like when they went hurry-up, they would look pretty good, and they were messing and confusing a really good Riders defense until Devon Campbell stepped in front of one and said, enough of this. Other than that, I thought BC's offense looked okay. Matthew Betts, questionable elbow injury. I thought it was more shoulder, but okay. So we'll see if he actually plays this week. I'm predicting more no. I think BC does. Buck Pierce has learned from his predecessor, from Mike O'Shea, how to play the games with the injury charts. So we'll see what happens. But you know what? Overall, Montreal's got enough pieces in this. I think this should be a pretty easy game, especially as this one's in La Belle Province. And BC has to travel the whole country to get over there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at Montreal here. They're coming off a road trip to Hamilton, which is nothing, and an extra day of rest. It's Friday, Saturday's not a big deal. BC went from in Saskatchewan now to in Montreal. I'm not convinced about Rourke. I don't know. To me, he still hasn't looked 100% healthy. That's why, or not 100% healthy. He hasn't looked 100% himself, even when healthy. That's why I was easy to make our trade. But I mean, Chad Kelly might not be either, so we can talk about that later. But I'm very interested in Montreal. I mean, if it's MBT, or hopefully he plays a lot better than he did last week. But he's got the pieces around him to do so. I think better than BC, and I think it's like a big game for Montreal because, like I said, Hamilton's got 3 in a row against the East Division. That could be putting them right on Montreal's heels in a few weeks if Montreal loses this one. Montreal's going into a bye next week, and then they come back against Toronto, so they got kind of a tough go about it too. Fantasy, anything else you want to add before we jump in?
I think we can go straight to fantasy. Who do you got first?
Absolutely nobody. I don't trust BC, and I don't trust Montreal. I can't even tell you who I would pick if I had a gun to my head. Do you got anybody?
Yeah, I have got, because he's cheap enough. Well, he isn't cheap, but he's cheap enough that I can afford him. I'm going to put Tyson Philpo in my lineup this week. I kind of really like the look of him. He doesn't have Tyler Snead to compete with for catches, and he doesn't have Austin Mack to compete with for catches. So that means that he's a little more available to get some catches. So let's see if McLeod Bethel-Thompson can actually hit him this time, is the only question I would have. But BC's secondary doesn't scare me like other teams. So Philpo, I think, probably will have a pretty good game. I think that was about it. I'm just taking a look. And I do have James Butler as well. That one, put a star beside, because I probably will change it. I don't like really. Last year, I would have loved to put James Butler up against Montreal defense, because their defense could not stop a run game worth nothing. This year, I think Montreal's improved on the run defense a little bit. So I don't know. I got a question mark beside that one. That one, or if Greg Bell looks like he's healthy on Friday night, I'm probably going to play Bell against the Argonauts. So that's kind of the two that I'm debating on there. So,
nope, I like it. Let's go into betting here. Ryan took Montreal and the under 49.5. I am going to completely agree with Ryan. I hate when I'm agreeing too much with Ryan. after the week he had last week. If you're real good, you explain yours. I'm going to be right back then if you just explain your betting picks to the people watching here.
Yeah, for sure. I hate seeing myself solo, but nevertheless, you know what? My betting picks on this one here. Montreal is at home. They play very well. They don't have the horns anymore, but they still play extremely well. BC, they're coming across the country. It's kind of just an average week, I guess. They did play last Saturday against the Riders. But that being said, Nathan Rourke's going to get probably accustomed back with his team. If he's going to play, I know that they say, yes, he's questionable. He may play. He may not play. Nobody knows. You know what? Last week was the same thing. He may play. He may not play. He didn't even throw any balls. This week he's throwing footballs. So that's a positive sign. That being said, I think they need one more week to get ready. And again, BC's receiving core is not the same as Montreal's receivers, and they still have that can really scare opponents, especially in run game and in run or in pass defense. So I'm going to go with the Montreal Alouettes. I'm going to go with the under, and I don't always show this coin while nobody's looking. See? Queen. Saskatchewan. So I know that you probably are going to get bored by me here sooner than later. So coin flip says that it's going to be the home team this time. So it will be the Montreal Alouettes winning this one here. We will go on to the last game of the week here. I know Trey's going to be back here very shortly. He just had to step out for a minute. In the meantime, we will go with the last game of the week. It is the Ottawa Redblacks at the Edmonton Elks. That game there. At what time? Ottawa's gotten better. They're a better team lately. They have a win already. This used to be the Toilet Bowl. And you know what? It's in Edmonton this week. Let's see if Edmonton can finally get their first win here. Trey Ford will be going here again for the Edmonton Elks. He did look okay last week. And you know what? Finally, I was real happy to see one thing about Trey Ford. He was actually throwing the football and trying to make those plays when he had to make those plays instead of just instantly running. Quite happy to see a little bit more progression out of Trey Ford. I think he's going to be okay. That being said, he needs the help. Keon Julian Grant has to make those catches when they come to him. If he would have made that one catch against Winnipeg in the first half, I think that he may have Edmonton might have turned momentum right around. Might have upset the Bombers. Didn't happen. I mean, the Bombers still in the fourth quarter came out and showed that they're still the Bombers. Didn't quite work for them. But Edmonton's not a bad team this year. The Edmonton Elks, I think, are still not too bad. They need to start winning, though, and they got to get it going right away. And what better time than in Edmonton, in Commonwealth Stadium, and get the crowd going and get whatever's there to get going for you. Ottawa side of the football, the only big thing I could tell you on that side is that I know Drew Brown has been practicing again. We'll see if he's healthy. Not sure. I haven't read if he is a go or not. I don't think that comes out for another day or two here. But if Drew Brown is healthy, they've got Eugene Lewis, who, by the way, there's another storyline for you. I'm sure Eugene Lewis would absolutely love to take it and show a certain manager over in Edmonton what he gave up, especially in Edmonton. This might be the only time they meet. It will be the only time in Edmonton. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, that should be a fun little storyline, I would think. Hey, Trey?
Yeah, no, I think I missed half of what you said.
Ed Hervey and
Eugene Lewis. Yeah. Hopefully he comes back and puts a superstar performance on it there.
So is this now a switch from the Toilet Bowl to the Superstar Bowl?
Pretty much.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, this is going to be a pretty good game here. I know that Edmonton has, like I said just before you came back here, Trey, Edmonton hasn't looked good in sometimes, but there are certain flashes that they have. Like they have a really good linebacking core. Wes Anderson and that other guy. Sorry, I cannot remember the name right off the top of my head. But both of those guys are really good defensive linebackers. Edmonton has got Trey Ford, who is still I think can beat players with his feet, but he's showing that he doesn't need to. I think the biggest thing they needed last week was just Julian Grant making sure that he gets his catches and making sure that the receivers help out the quarterback when they need, right?
Mm-hmm. No, for sure.
Other than that, in this game here, really should be a good one here. It's on a Sunday, I believe, this one, if I'm not mistaken, right, Trey?
Yep. One game a week this week.
Yep. So Sunday game should be a fun one to watch. Yeah, fantasy players in this one. Who do you got? Anybody?
Yeah, actually, just got one guy in this one. I'm going heavy early in the week. I got Braylon Addison. He's coming off 11-point game against Toronto. He had a quiet one against Calgary, but other than that, it's been double digits. Had almost 20 points against Saskatchewan, followed it up with 17 against Montreal. I'm hoping that against this Edmonton defense, he can find some. He'll be the go-to guy, regardless who's quarterback.
Gotta agree with that one. Braylon Addison's a good pickup. I'm going to go with Eugene Lewis. I think that he is literally going to go and want to go and shove it so far up Ed Hervey's rear end to show him what the heck he's about and that superstars exist in the CFL. That being said, that could be a negative because I've seen that backfire in players too. Just ask Bo Levi Mitchell and he was going to go and defend Deron Carter back in the day. That didn't end well. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to go with Eugene Lewis because I just have to. Justin Wright's not a bad pickup as well. I think he could get some good yardage. The only problem with it is, again, when you're looking at Edmonton's running backs, Javon Leake is getting a lot of carries again now. He wasn't last year. He wasn't. It was mostly just the one running back. This year here, it seems like it's a mix between Rankin and Leake. So be careful on that one if you are going to go with Justin Rankin. Or Javon Leake for that matter, I guess. Otherwise, yeah, those are maybe the two picks that I would maybe look at. Eugene Lewis and running back for Edmonton, depending which one you like. Betting, what do we got?
Well, real quick, what did you say in the last game?
Oh, I said it was going to be Montreal, and the coin said Montreal. And I said over in that game. Or did I say under? Somebody go back and look for me. Honestly, you know what? I think it was under.
Under? Okay. That's fine. That's what it is now. And then, yeah, this week, Ryan took Ottawa -2 and -2. And he also took the over 52.5 on this one. This one's tough. You know what? I'm actually going to go with Edmonton. They looked okay against Winnipeg. They had Winnipeg on the ropes for a while there. Now, they were tied with a Winnipeg that had, Caleros passing for 3 touchdowns at one point. You know what I mean? So I'll go with Edmonton to get at least to make it a 1-point or 2-point or less game. I'm going to go with I'll go with the over, though, too. I think these teams might put up some points. So what do you got?
I want to take Edmonton. I really do, because I think that they're finally due for a win here, and I think that their fans are due a win, and I really hope they get a win because, by gosh, they need a win. That being said, also I know Eugene Lewis is going to come fired up. And I'm going to go like this. If I see that Drew Brown is playing this game, I'm going with the Ottawa Red Blacks. If I see it's Dustin Crum, I'm going with the Edmonton Elks. Right at the moment, I'm going with the Edmonton Elks. I don't know if Drew Brown's ready to go. But if that changes, I'll let you know in our Discord channel as soon as we can. And I'm going to go with the over in this game. I think both teams are going to start lighting it up. But I think that if it is, I think Edmonton could have a better defense to stop Ottawa a little bit more. So, yeah, Edmonton and the over. And the coin. The coin is going with the away team. It's going with the Ottawa Red Blacks. -2. So, we'll see what happens over there.
The coin just goes straight pick 'em.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, what is that? Don't confuse me.
Just to mess with you a little bit more.
Can't change the rules halfway through unless it's our fantasy league. Then I can do it.
Speaking of fantasy league,
yeah, exactly. That was a hell of a transition. Ryan would say.
Transition. Yeah, I can go first. I'm just typing up stuff, so give me a second here. I'll put 2000. I can go. I've got it right here. 2025 Podcast League 4 is in the books. Boy, there were some high scores this week. And it wasn't Ryan that got the high score this week, which was quite nice. Adults over at the Rouge podcast for the adults, he got the high score of the week, 141.6 points. Ryan played Duchess Lombardi, Kayla, over at the Edmonton Elks podcast. That's the Turf District. He did beat Kayla. 111.17 or 0.7 to 79.7. Trey, you were playing the league average, which was pretty high this week, 102.3. You did give the league average a loss. You got 130.1 this week. And I'm going to argue this one to the death and challenge it and do everything else because Greg on Sports with the Piffles podcast, a Rough Riders podcast, I should add, beat me with 125.5 to 102.2, and that's because he picked Zach Collaros. I don't care. Riders Fancast should never be allowed to pick the Bombers quarterback. There should be league rules in that. It's just unacceptable. Anyway, seeing as I'm not going to win this point here, so far, Ryan is still in first, 4-0, 456 points. Trey, you're in third, 3-1 through 433 points. And myself, well, I'm on the outside looking in right now, 2-2, 375 points. Room for improvement. Had a pretty good, tough challenge. This week here, if I look at the schedule, you are taking on Safamod over at the Piffles podcast. We'll see if Steve actually has some decency and not picks a Bomber quarterback, which I don't think he will. I'm going to pick up, go and try to take on Sheldon Jones over from the 2 and Out CFL podcast. That should be a fun battle. And Ryan is taking on, he's got Ryan from the Horseman podcast and also 3 Down Nation. I guarantee I think I might know what Ryan's picking so far this week.
Yeah.
Not that Ryan, the other Ryan.
Our Ryan will know what can make some changes on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where other Ryan's kind of locked in on Thursday, I think. So
full respect to the commit, man. Full respect to the commit.
Man, I would hate the Bombers so quick if I just did nothing but pick them. I pick enough of them this year. The last few years I've been trying not to pick them too much, and this year I've been falling into picking them. And
I guarantee if you ask Mr. Ballantyne this week, he's going to tell you that 2 weeks ago was just a flip of the radar, and Calgary's going to win every single one of their games for the rest of the season. So,
right. Well,
anyway, what's in your fantasy league?
Yeah, well. In my league, the Discord league, we all, 2 of us got wins, I believe, or just me? Just me got a win. I beat our buddy Brandon. He put up a decent score, 104.6, but I went 130.1. You lost to Waldo, who had the top score of 144.5, just beating out Charlie Wallace for the second top score by 1.5. So you are there. Ryan lost out to Charlie Wallace with the second highest score. And Mike had a close one with Noverby, or however you say it, 3.5 point loss there, which puts us in the standings right now in the Discord League. There's a 7-way tie for first place based off a record. So that's all the playoff spots right now as the top 7 make the playoffs at 3-1. The tie break is total points. Then that means so the only one of us in the show that's in that is myself, I believe. Yep. You are at 1-3, so you're outside the outside, and Mike and Ryan are at 2-2, just on the outside looking in. So that's a very tough league. It's crazy. In the pod, he uses the exact same lineup, and in the podcast league, Ryan's 4-0, and in this one, he's 2-2. So the Discord league's a little bit tougher. I've gotten lucky in this one. Upcoming week, I take on Extreme 88. You take on our buddy Rich, who was just in the chat there. Mike takes on... Where the hell's Mike? Josh M, while Ryan takes on Larry S. And just a reminder, if you are in this league, week 6, we also have everyone is versus the league average of the week. So keep that in mind with the 3-game slate. It's week average. That's average week there. We've already talked about our private one. Is there anything else we want to talk about before we start wrapping up?
Yeah, just pretty much that our Discord fans, I'm going to throw in the hot take for this week. Our Discord fans are the best at fantasy. I mean, they are utterly amazing. Like I swear that they just sit up all night planning on how to beat us. That's all they live for.
By no means do I think just because you start a podcast makes you any more important or more smart when it comes to this. But you would think that the podcast league, people who proclaim themselves experts enough to want to talk about the freaking league for an hour or two every week, would know what they're talking about. And yeah, like I said, Ryan is 4-0 in that league, and he's 2-2 in the Discord league. Like between, let me just pull this up again because the total scores are whack. Like there's guys almost at 500 points already. Josh M is at 493 total. Waldo's at 480. Sandwich is at 465. Charlie Wallace 442. Like there's people who are wild here. Even Ryan's at 456, even though he's at 2-2. Like, Rich was doing pretty good too, and he kind of trailed off the last couple weeks. Like we got some tough guys in this group. So I hate it. I don't even check the podcast league. The one we do, I don't check it. If I win in the Discord, I assume I win in that one.
I just look at it and I'm just like, you know what? Usually we always say iron sharpens iron. In this case, it's titanium sharpening titanium because I don't think there's a player on that Discord channel or on the Discord league that won't be in the championship or in the Champions League at the end of the season because there are some, except for me, maybe I probably won't be in there. But other than that, I mean, though that league is just utterly insane right now, which proves that, hey, we've got some of the best Discord guys on fantasy. Maybe you want to go to our Discord channel, check it out. I know, cheap plug.
That's what I mean. Cheap plug. Like I said, you as an expert's at 1-3. Our buddy Brandon's at 1-3, who literally has a fantasy football podcast. I know he says he's learning the CFL game still, but he literally has a fantasy football podcast. Mike and Ryan's at 2-2 on the outside of the playoffs, and I'm in the mix of the playoffs. Just, I don't want to say on an easy part of the schedule, but I think I got lucky in the draw here a little bit, just with a couple plays with Caleros earlier and my play with Strevler earlier. And my first loss came to Rich, who just blew me out of the water, and then I've turned things around a little bit. So, fantasy is fun. And I was definitely pacing today in the office while we were making our trade. So that's the joys of fantasy football.
You know, you feel like a general manager when you get to make some of those trades like that. So just saying, if Jeremy O'Day needs a day off, I'm there for you.
Yeah, this time of year, I think I'll go replace Chevy and see what we can do.
He might need all the help he can get. I don't think he's
exactly. But anyway, ready to wrap up now? Wrap it up. We'll be back next week for our week 6 preview. Probably the same time, same old place. If you want to follow us on the Twitter, if you still go on the Elon X there, it's at CF Countdown Pod, or on Facebook at facebook.com/CF Countdown Pod. You can also check out all the other great shows on the Canadian Football Podcast Network, as well on Twitter at CF Pod Network, or the Alternative Football Network at the official AFN on Twitter, or the alternativefootballnetwork.com. I know our buddy AFN Mike was tweeting because some negotiation list stuff came out today. and he tagged us in it. And a couple interesting names on there that we knew about, and a couple interesting ones we didn't. Reminder, check out everything on the CFC Discord. The link should be in the description. That's kind of our bonus content. You can get anything and everything there. Other sports, football, UFC, hockey, baseball, basketball, farming, horse racing. Everything there. Make sure you support the show. We thank everyone who watched today, everyone who commented, all the great stuff. Whatever platform you're listening on, we appreciate it. Just like, comment, subscribe, review, rate the show, share it with your friends, help us grow the show. Even if it's a negative comment, it's still a comment, and you still put us in the algorithm. So whatever. Adam, where can people find you?
You can find me at Adam Stewart 1, usually on the Twitter, or mainly I usually use Instagram. So if you want to see a bunch of farming pictures, the canola's blooming up. So suddenly I'm a big fan of green and gold. Not that team, but I'm a fan of what comes out of the ground in that color. So we'll go with that. It's that kind of time of year where everything's getting nice and hot, and it's just a fun time. It's summertime. Buffs have their big golf tournament this weekend, so I guarantee there's going to be a bunch of shenanigans around that. And it should be a great time. Be sure to follow me though at Adam Stewart 1 on the X, or you can go look in the Instagram. But hey, if you want to see what I'm also up to, sometimes I'll post it on the Discord under the farming channel, or if I'm at a football game, you never know, I might just take some pictures.
I'm waiting for some pictures from you, Adam. I need to see some results, but we'll talk about that later. If you want to find me on the X at Trey MB Harness, always tweeting some stuff. Lot of horse racing things. Actually, the harness racing gets started here next Saturday, so I'll be tweeting about that a lot. Always watching the stuff in Alberta. Always having a fun time there. Ryan, he's never on his personal one, but I can't remember. Was it Cooper Trooper or something? 42. Yeah, and Mike Garrell 1.
At Mike Garrell 1, I think it is. Yep.
Yeah, there we go. Again, mostly if you want to talk to them, they're mostly in the Discord. That would be the best way. And that's everything. We'll be back next week. And on behalf of my buddy here, Adam, Ryan and Mike. Ryan's on suspension, so he doesn't get a shout out. And Mike still don't know where he is. We'll see you next time. Take care.